Hey, GERO 508. It is Sunday, August 3rd again, and this is our last lecture.
Last lecture.
So you are almost to the finish line. Congrats on that.
Congratulations, guys.
We know that taking a class in the summer is a challenge, but we appreciate all of your hard work, and we hope that you enjoy the class as much as we enjoy teaching it.
Absolutely. All righty. Look at I'm in my original Brightspace account, I guess here. So what I got to do is got to find it. There it is. And let's go. There we go.
Okay. Did you want to
Look at
switch to?
which this is what it looks like for us. View as learner. Awesome. And that's what it looks like for you. That's how you do that. Okay, well, let's go. We've already reviewed the things that are due this week. So you guys are on board with that. What comes after 11?
12.
12.
All right.
Very end, right
The
here.
final chapter.
Happiness and gratitude.
All right. So, and did you want to download the
Yes.
PowerPoint?
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Mm.
So anyway, I really like this module as well. I like stuff that's free and easy, and I like things that overlap. So the concept of gratitude as a practice to deal with stress overlaps with our social connection, and it overlaps with mindfulness, because a big part of gratitude is being aware and mindful of the things that you have in your life that are positive. Otherwise, we can just focus on all the negative things and we never feel gratitude. So there's some really good websites and really good centers that do research and have tools and resources for people who are interested in practicing gratitude. Berkeley's one, UC Davis is another. And so I've given you a link to the Berkeley Greater Good Science Center. They have this gratitude quiz. And I find the quiz really interesting because it does ask some questions that I think, like how do you feel when you drive by someone who's been in a car accident? Do you feel better about yourself? I think they're a little weird, but whatever. They have a science to it. There's also this gratitude journal, online gratitude journal you can sign up for, where you do the gratitude journaling online, and they send you reminders, and you can sign up for 10 days or 21 days. And honestly, for me, I've never been able to commit to having a gratitude journal and write it down. But what I do is take time during the day and take time at the end of the day to say, these are the good things that happened today. These are the things that I'm grateful for. And I also, in this line of how gratitude overlaps with social connection, I try to express gratitude to the people around me, and saying to someone, and this is a very American saying, I appreciate you, is a really positive thing. You feel good because you're expressing your gratitude. The other person feels great because you've noticed them and you're noticing what they've done. And so I think that taking time during the day to express gratitude to the people around us that are an important part of our lives is really important to build strong social connections. So we have this graphic on the right that just kind of talks about the different
The intersection.
areas. Yes,
It's a
the
Venn
intersection,
diagram. Yeah.
the intersection of how gratitude can have positive effects physically by boosting your immune system, increasing your pain tolerance, making you less focused on pain if you have chronic health conditions, decreasing your blood pressure, decreasing your cardiac risk, helping you sleep better. And then socially, again, you have more compassion and empathy. You may feel less isolated or lonely. And we know that loneliness and isolation can be very damaging to your health. And it helps you be more generous with others, more helpful with others, more open, I think, to others. And then the psychological aspect helps you experience more happiness, more joy, higher energy levels, more optimism. Resilience is a big part of this gratitude practice, and we'll talk about how resilience and gratitude can intersect, and being able to deal with stress better. So here's another resource from the Berkeley Greater Good Science Center. You can take for free this class, the Science of Happiness class. and you can take it for free, or you can pay like $169 to take it, but you can take it for free by just selecting audit the course. And I think you get access to most of the material, but you wouldn't get like a certificate or credit at the end. And so that's definitely something to look into if this is a stress intervention that moves you. We gave you a short article that talks about gratitude and well-being and explains, what is the concept of gratitude? It's the appreciation of something that's valuable and meaningful to you. And then there's this other quote about thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude. Gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. Thankfulness may be merely words, but gratitude is shown in acts. So a lot of times the expression or the intervention of gratitude is done by, writing a letter in the old days. I would say today it could be writing a text message or posting on someone, No, but I mean,
Good text.
just saying, hey, I appreciate what you did for me today. I'm grateful that you helped me. Writing an email to your academic advisor after you register for class to say, hey, thanks for helping me deal with that declearance problem I was having. Those are things that you can do. But there's a lot of different ways that scientists have studied the effect of gratitude by writing letters and expressing gratitude in different ways. Okay, and so here's from that same paper, the benefits of appreciation, journaling. A lot of people believe in having a gratitude journal. I noticed in the I think it was in the Berkeley website, there's a gratitude app, but it's not available for the iPhone yet. So I'd love to have an app for my phone that would remind me every day at like 8 o'clock, to write down what are the 3 things that I was grateful for today. So journaling can be very effective if you're someone who likes to journal. Just thinking about someone is helpful. Writing or sending a letter or an email or a text, depending on what modality works for you. Meditating. So as you are practicing mindfulness, one of the things that you can practice mindfulness about is, what am I grateful for in my life right now? And even in bad times, I've been through some rough times as a cancer patient. John's been through some really rough times
Right now.
with his orthopedic injuries. But even in rough times, you can say, I'm really grateful that I have such a good doctor, or I'm really grateful for the nurses in my infusion center who are always really nice and really helpful. So your life doesn't have to be perfect in order for you to be grateful. It's really just a matter of kind of sifting through what's in your life to say, this is what's good today.
And it doesn't have to be people. I mean, maybe you don't have a lot of people connections. It can be your dog. If you don't have a dog, I'm grateful for those plants that have been
Yes,
able to grow
absolutely.
in the back.
You
They all have meaning. I'm grateful for the opportunity right there. I got a huge award for Instructor of the Year at USC one year, and it was a big deal back in the day. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been an educator my whole life.
Yeah.
So.
And we actually have the award in our dining room because I like to be able to look at it and see it and be grateful that John got that award. When we go to Costa Rica, I love it. I love the people. I love the country. I love everything about it. But when we come back to California and you're making that transition from this paradise to California, which is a different type of paradise, I'm usually pretty grateful for how good our roads are.
Yes.
How amazing our plumbing is.
I don't have to worry about drinking water.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the basics.
Right.
I'll go back.
Okay.
There are a couple other ways of performing acts of gratitude. Do a count your blessings exercise at the end of the week. Think about 3 things that you were grateful for at the end of the week, or I like to do that at the end of every day. Practicing thank you to people. I've found in my relationships with the people that I'm close to, being able to just say, hey, thanks for doing that for me today. I really appreciate that. Because I know our kids live with us. They don't really want to live with us, but life is hard out there. And they're probably grateful that they've got a roof over their heads. And I'm really grateful for the help that they give us, around the house and doing stuff. So writing thank you notes. And if you're religious, gratitude can be part of religion if you're praying and thanking God or whoever your entity is, to say thank you for
What
my
I
life.
have, what I want.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there are a lot of different ways that you can approach the intervention of gratitude. And so this little article talks about how people who have higher levels of gratitude sleep better. And so they one of the interventions is writing in a gratitude journal for 15 minutes before you go to sleep, produces better sleep. Probably because you're removing yourself from some of the negativity of the day. Gratitude can help defend you from materialism. Living in California, in Southern California, in LA, there's a lot of really wealthy people with a lot of stuff. And it can be easy to fall into the trap of being envious or jealous. But being grateful for what you have and appreciating that, hey, your life could be worse, helps remove you from that trap of getting wrapped up in the rat race of materialism. Studies of military veterans with PTSD found that those veterans that practiced gratitude felt better and had a higher level of resilience, even though they had been through traumatic events during their military service. But there were some limitations to gratitude. So there's certain cohorts of people that the studies have looked at, and they have determined, well, women who are going through a divorce, they don't really get the benefit of gratitude. So sometimes you can be in a really dark place dealing with a lot of conflict and a lot of negativity. And that may not be the time to say to your friend who's going through a divorce, hey, you should practice gratitude. That it may not be an effective intervention for them, but maybe something else would be: music, exercise, meditation, other things. Different age cohorts, especially children and adolescents, when they were provided with a gratitude intervention, it didn't really seem to have an effect, positive or negative, and sometimes with college students as well. But I think some of that could be life experience. As you get more life experience
And life and really development too. That
and
goes with life.
development, your brain changes as you age.
Yeah,
So,
these guys kind of live in the moment, and they're like, "What are you talking
yeah,
about?"
yeah, yeah.
These guys are so urgently trying to separate themselves,
Yeah.
and then you don't. When you're at this level, you are grinding so hard to get ahead, you kind of lose perspective sometimes.
Yeah. So it can be, this may be an intervention that works better as you get older. And like I said, I think life experience, and I think, as John points out, your prefrontal cortex develops a little bit more. You get a little bit more distance, a little more perspective on life, and you've seen people who've had less than you, and you kind of understand, hey, maybe what I have isn't so bad. So this was an article, kind of a really interesting study. I'm not sure how I feel about the ethics of the study, but it was done partially, I think it was done in New South Wales, in Australia. So they took college students and they told them, we're going to pair you up with a high school student who's getting ready to apply to college, and we're going to have you look at their writing sample for their college application essay, and we're going to have you give feedback to them. Now, these were fake. So, it's kind of weird in that sense. So they reviewed the essays, they gave them feedback, and then the college students who had provided the feedback were separated into two groups. One group got a thank you note that was pretty mild. It just said, I received your feedback. I'm going to use it to make my essays better. The other group got a thank you note that said, oh, I received your feedback. Thank you so much for spending this time. This is so valuable and important to me. It's really made a difference in my life. I'm going to use it to make my essay better. And then the study allowed the students to respond if they wanted to, no pressure. And do you want to respond? Do you want to send a note back to the high school student or not? Do you want to give them your contact info or not? And then the psychologists who were running the study left the room, so there'd be no pressure. There was an envelope that if they wanted to write a note, they could put it in. And what they found is that the people who got gratitude in the thank you notes, like a really strong expression of gratitude, they were much more likely to then respond with a note and give their email or phone number to this high school student and say, hey, if you end up coming to school here, look me up, or hey, you can text me some other time if you need help. They also found, and they found in studies similar to this, that once you get that gratitude, you're more likely to offer to help again. So you're more likely to offer to give feedback on essays in the future. And so the graph that we're seeing shows expression of gratitude, then the perception of warmth from the person you helped. And then that turns into an intention to be affiliated or to make a relationship or a bond with this person, which then turns into leaving contact information like your email or your cell phone number. And so they definitely saw this difference depending on how much gratitude the people felt in terms of whether they were willing to then in turn develop a relationship with the high school student.
It
Kind of
reminds me
interesting.
of psychologists that looked at oxytocin. It's kind of the same thing where he would give people a reward and for doing something, and they would get this burst of oxytocin, and they would measure it, but they would also give the opportunity for people that got the reward to give it to somebody else, and they found that the people that gave it to somebody else got a much burst of oxytocin.
I understand that. Okay. So one of the other studies that looked at gratitude showed that there was a really strong link between gratitude, people who had self-reported strong feelings of gratefulness or gratitude. It correlated with better physical health. And they wanted to look at, this was a study of 1,000 people in Switzerland. And they wanted to look at, what are the things that these people who express a lot of gratitude, what are the things that they're doing that make them healthier? And they found that they were psychologically healthier, happier, more optimistic. They participated in more healthy activities like exercise and just generally self-care. They were more willing to seek help for medical issues. So they were more willing to go to the doctor, and if the doctor prescribed a treatment regimen, they were more compliant and followed the treatment regimen, and they had more optimism. So a lot of positive health factors for as people get older, especially when you link gratitude to physical health.
So these kinds of studies are where this type of advice comes from. All right. So it's just not pulled out of thin air. So there's a lot of science that goes behind everything.
Somehow we went to the wrong place.
No, but I'm illustrating.
So, never mind.
Yeah. So I'm illustrating that this is, where this all comes from. It comes from a bunch of studies like the ones that Julie been going through.
Okay. So here's another study, and I think this was also a college student study. They had a group of students, and they said, okay, this group, we want you to record all face-to-face interactions that you have for 14 days. You can imagine on a college campus, you're living in a dorm, you've got a roommate, you're walking to class, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to rate your interactions in terms of whether it was an interaction that provoked gratitude, happiness, feeling hurt, feeling anger. Then they had another study that had people actually write down feelings of gratitude, or alternatively write down feelings of aggression. Then they had another study where people wrote a letter about what they were most grateful for, and then they got negative feedback about their writing abilities. But when you express gratitude first, and then you're experiencing gratitude and feeling grateful for something, and then you're confronted with someone who's aggressive or angry, or you get negative feedback, you're able to withstand that kind of negative interaction or negative stimuli better than someone who didn't experience gratitude first. So I think if you go to the next slide. Yeah, so here's a little graph that says, so it's a little hard to explain, but okay. So on the one axis, we're showing higher levels of aggression. On the other axis, we're showing whether you had an insult or no insult. The solid line is gratitude. So if you had gratitude, you had better control if someone insults you. So if you were experiencing gratitude, you were basically able to keep it together if you're in traffic and somebody road rages you, or you're trying to get to your class and you get bumped by somebody, or you go to your classroom and someone's sitting in your favorite seat. You're able to handle whatever negative interaction better, which is a good thing. Okay, so here's the journaling thing. Gratitude, experiencing and feeling and expressing gratitude leads to better sleep. So you getting rid of all the negativity and worry and anxiety and all that stuff that sits in your head at the end of the day, and you start worrying about things. And you're putting this kind of comforting layer of gratitude in your brain by spending 15 minutes writing down the things you're grateful for. I don't know that 15 minutes is a magic time. It'd be really hard for me to find 15 minutes at the end of the day to write a list of things I'm grateful for. But if you're someone who enjoys journaling, that's going to be the perfect intervention for you. And it will help you let go of the negativity that you may have experienced during the day, let go of your anxiety, and go to sleep with kind of a brain that's been reset to be grateful, with less stress, and put you in a position where you can sleep better all night long. Okay. I love this story. This is a USC athlete named Isaiah Jewett. This was quite a long time ago, 2019, 2020. He went to the Olympics and he was predicted to do really well, possibly win a medal in the Olympics. Now, he collided with the athlete next to him. They collided. And there was some controversy over whose fault it was. But anyway, so instead of finishing the race and winning the race and getting a medal, he goes back. So the other guy who wasn't predicted to win anything, he goes back, he pulls him up off the track, throws his arm around him, and they walk and finish the race together. And he got an enormous amount of positive attention. The president and first lady at the time said, "You are our hero for the way you comported yourself and the way you behaved in this really difficult circumstance." And he was interviewed a lot. And he said, "Look, I have to live in the moment, not this moment that just happened, but, to realize that I'm super blessed to be here at the Olympics, super blessed to be able to talk to reporters. I'm just super happy to be here." He still runs to this day. He didn't make it to the next Olympics, but he has, what do you call it, endorsements,
Right.
or he's a Nike sponsored athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it probably paid off for him.
Back.
And so there's a lot of information that says gratitude leads to better self-esteem. It works for athletes. It probably works for everyone else. Okay. This is an interesting study where they had started their study before 2000, before 9/11, which happened in 2001. So they had interviewed a bunch of, I think they were college students, and gotten information about their feelings of gratitude and resilience and things like that. Then 9/11 happened. And then they went back and followed up and interviewed the people again. And what they found is that the people who felt gratitude had greater resilience to the events of 9/11. And whether it's 9/11 or whether it's, a different, we've got a lot of conflict and war around the world right now. So no matter where you're from, you've probably got family or friends or somebody who's affected by the things that are going on our planet right now. But being able to feel grateful for the things, after 9/11, people were grateful that their families were safe. They were grateful that they still had a job. They were grateful, for whatever the positives were in that situation. And that led to a lot of resilience and ability to withstand some of the difficult times that happened after that. Okay. And then this is just a little chart that they made showing the correlation between having psychological resilience and gratitude leading to positive emotions, so more happiness, and also leading to increases in psychological resources. So when you have gratitude and you've got more resilience, then you have better relationships, you've got more resources that you can count on when bad things happen. So there's this nice positive feedback loop. Okay. And then Robert Emmons is a professor at UC Davis. He is there. So I've given you a link to the UC Davis website about gratitude. So he's
that may have changed.
No, I fixed
Oh,
it.
you fixed it. Good.
I mean, there's
Yeah, there was an old one, and then it's no longer, but we replaced it with the correct one. So
okay.
Good.
So anyway, so the website's great. He's done a lot of research about gratitude, and he's had a lot of data that he's published about the physical effects and positive health effects of gratitude. So lowering your blood pressure, improving your immune function, helping you sleep better, reducing your risk for depression and substance abuse disorders, things like that, preventing suicide, reducing your risk for suicide. Go to the next one. Yeah. So this is all the things that he's published. Decrease cholesterol, decrease inflammation, your CRP blood measures, decrease kidney problems, which would be amazing for, say, people with diabetes tend to develop kidney problems and end up on dialysis.
All these things go hand in hand. Diabetes, cholesterol causes kidney failure.
Yes. So. Decrease cortisol, less dietary fat intake, so you're not craving the bad food. Lower blood glucose. So a lot of positive health effects from practicing gratitude. And again, it's free, it's easy. You can do it 15 times a day. You can do it once a week. It's a really simple, easy intervention. Okay. So then we have this Science of Gratitude video that talks about people who practice gratitude have more happiness, they're more resilient, they have more energy, they have better self-esteem, they're more likely to be helpful to others. So just like that original study that we looked at with the college students that provided feedback on a fake high school student's essay, they're more likely to volunteer to do that again because they've experienced gratitude for what they did. So you can actually kind of rewire your brain, and your brain lights up when you experience gratitude. So all that dopamine and serotonin, it's lighting up. As John mentioned, oxytocin may be released. So you've got all of
that increases dopamine.
Yeah, you've got all your feel-good chemicals going in the brain. And
oxytocin is the maternal bond that happens physiologically when children are breastfeeding. The mom gets really bonded from that physical action, and also it happens because you release a ton of oxytocin because contraction of the uterus and give birth. And but just having happy relationships also releases oxytocin.
yes.
So.
Yes, absolutely. So this is our Dalai Lama video. I mean,
he's the best.
He's kind of a funny guy. So John likes this video, and basically, if you don't want to watch the whole video, it's only 8 minutes.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
He says,
he's
if you experience happiness, you're probably going to be satisfied. You're going to have more peace of mind. You're going to be more open. You're going to treat people as equals. Helping others leads, he says, to more happiness and a feeling of purpose. It gets you away from that materialism, that trap of materialism. And then he talks about how important friendship and social connection is, and how if you are self-centered and you're kind of going to be destined to experience loneliness. So it can be really meaningful. And then this was the last video we had, 17 science-backed ways to relieve stress. And we've talked about a lot of them: yoga, meditation, exercise, pet therapy, cuddling something. I could cuddle John. Wait, Desi, is Desi down there? Yes, Desi's seeping. That's Desi's voice that I just talked in. We all have a voice for our dogs, right? And our cats. Humor. I love laughing to relieve stress. So watch a funny video. Um, I do, they call it penguin pebbling. I see a funny video on Instagram and I send it to John or one of my kids. If it makes me laugh, I think it might make them laugh and relieve their stress. Turn your phone off. I am very guilty of being on my phone too much. And so I leave my phone at home when we walk the dogs. I leave my phone at home.
Studies have actually looked at heart rate and cortisol levels, and you think that this is something good because it's not really social media, okay? And oftentimes it's upsetting, and there's
Yeah, it can be isolating.
yeah.
It can be isolating. So I leave my phone at home when we go out to dinner. I don't have it when I'm eating lunch, So try to unplug from technology and social media. I'm a huge fan of going for a walk in nature. Our Japanese practice of forest bathing. I do it on USC campus once a week when I finish my class. I walk around and I listen to the fountains and I look at the trees and I look at all the students, and it's a super big stress reliever after finishing a bunch of work or something like that. Use your nose. Remember your five senses. So you can use your nose, you can use touch, you can use what you look at. There's a lot of different ways to use your five senses to relieve stress. Keep a gratitude journal, take a nap. I'm a big napper. John's
Not
not
me.
a napper.
We have insomnia genetically
I could-
flowing through
I
my
could
side of the
I
family,
could
so
sleep anywhere.
I've never slept on a plane, never once.
Get a dog, and dogs or cats or whatever, fish, whatever floats your boat. So there's all these different things. So okay, I'm done.
Awesome.
And then there's one more.
One more. That's it.
And we're thankful for you.
Right.
So we really appreciate our students. We appreciate just interacting and learning from you. I always learn from my students every single semester, every single class, every single year. I learn something new from my
Oh yeah,
students.
and
So
we read all your discussions. We read, it's just she and I, so we go through everything and appreciate it. So these are all not Julie added a lot of resources to her lecture, but these are the ones that you're going to find that is part of your quiz, okay, your final exam, and so there's not a whole lot here, and it's but really fun and engaging. And then we go back here to the discussion, and this one's just more of a fun one, okay? And here's your prompt, and in terms of what you're going to be doing with your lives, and as a manager someday, or running a facility, or just your own private practice, how you're going to introduce this concept of gratitude and happiness. What are your practices, okay? And that's it, okay?
yeah. Thank
All right,
you,
guys.
everybody.
Peace.
Let
All
us
right.
know if you need anything,
And
and
maybe
we're here
we'll
for
see you guys on campus someday. If not, you can
Absolutely.
always stay in touch using email. That's how
Stop
we
by and say
communicate.
hi.
Right. Peace.